It's something that my husband always says a lot, actually, and a lot lately, is that to enjoy the season you're in rather than trying to rush through the season. And I think specifically it like being parents, for example, I think like giving an example, an analogy to just growing children is that we were always like when my son was a baby, we were like, oh, we really love the stage, but oh man, like I can't wait till we can sleep again. And I can't wait till he can start crawling, right? All right. That stage comes, he's crawling, like, man, dang, I can't wait till he starts walking because this crawling, he's knocking everything down. Okay, he starts walking, now he's pulling things down. They were like, man, we can't wait till he starts being like independent and he doesn't need us anymore. And then he gets to the age where he's just like, he wants to do his own thing. And so we were always rushing him to the next stage. Like, we can't wait for him to get here. Yeah. And so it's synonymous to our lives where we're in one stage, especially like if we're talking about just our entrepreneurial journey, we may be at a stage where we're crawling in our journey, right? And we're like, man, we can't wait for our business to take off, where our business is walking on its own. And then when it starts walking on its own, we're like, man, I can't wait to start making millions. Man, it's like we'll never be satisfied because we're always trying to rush to the next season and not enjoying the season that we're in, even the growing pain seasons, right? So like, because that's important to the journey as well. So I think that I'm trying to be more intentional about enjoying where I am in business now, no matter what it looks like, because I may never get back that lesson that season was trying to teach me. Yeah. So that's definitely something that I'm trying to apply in all aspects of my life.
That's huge. Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, Armand Lindsay, back again with another episode of Big Boss Talk, the podcast. Listen, we're on a back-to-back day. You know, we had interviews yesterday, we got an interview today, but nothing changes. It's always top-tier guests. From one day to the next, it's always going to be a top-tier guest that blesses us on the screen. And I'm super excited to have this particular person on the screen because it's talking about something not only that I kind of care about, that I want to kind of get more info on, but it's just, you know, it's in a realm of, I think people don't realize it's something that you need or things that you should think about when you're starting on this journey of building a brand or building something that, you know, you don't want anybody to take from you. But before we start now, I'm going to get into the guest. So I have Chanise Anderson, age 33. She's attorney at law and real estate broker and investor, okay? Chanise Anderson graduated with honors from the State University of New York College in 2011 with a Bachelors of Arts in English Literature. In 2015, she received her Juris Doctorate from New England Law School, graduating in the top 8% of her class, Cum Laude. Come on, Black excellence. Let's give it up for that. Man,
I tried.
You didn't try. You succeeded. The top 8%. Like, that's a big deal. So congrats on that. But Chanise, say what's up to the podcast.
Hi guys, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for the introduction. Yeah. I'm so excited just to chat it up, ask all your questions, and just connect with the really dope people.
Yeah, for sure, man. We're gonna do something hopefully for the listeners, the viewers. You guys just pay attention, follow along with the conversation, and hopefully you can pick something out of this that you could, take with you, that you can, maybe unlock the next stage into your journey. And not only that, this is a definitely good opportunity for if you ever need anything, services, from Chanise, you have a contact now. You have somebody that can do this. And we can always, link up and put it together. But other than that, we got to do two truths and a lie. That's how we start the show always. All
right.
So let's see.
Let's hear thinking about this one. Okay. All right. You ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay. Yeah. All right. All right. Two truths and a lie. So I just put them out there, right?
So three statements. Don't tell me what's the truth, what's the lie. You just got to say three statements.
Okay. The first one is I have 13 brothers and sisters.
Okay.
The second one is I've traveled to 15 countries. And the third one is I'm an experienced skier.
Wow. That's some good stuff. Okay. Now, you said you have 16 brothers and sisters?
I think I said 13 or 14.
13, 14.
Oh, see, now you trying to trip me up. You trying to trick me now. Now you trying to get me my lie or my truth.
Who knows? I don't know, but we'll see.
I'm pretty sure I said 13.
13? Okay, got you. 13, cool. And then the last one, experienced skier. I think that's true. I mean, I wouldn't. That's a weird lie to come up with. You know what I mean? Like, I'm an experienced skier. Like, who lies about that? So I think that's true. And then you said you went to, maybe the numbers got switched up. You said 15 countries. Okay, got it. So you're a world traveler. Yeah. I don't know, man. Everybody trying to get me. Everybody be trying to get me with the countries, man. And it's always the number.
See, the countries get a country.
Yeah, it be the number. Like it's like sometimes it might not be 15. It could be, and then. Oh. All right. So look, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna say the countries is the lie.
Okay.
All right. I think that's the lie. Okay. Only reason why I think that's the lie is because the number correction on the siblings. I'm like, she telling me like how many siblings she got. So I'm gonna just say that's the lie. I don't know. I'm saying that you have not. I'm not. It's not. Maybe it's not 15. It could be less than 15.
No. I get what you're trying to say.
Yeah. So that's the lie.
Be confident.
I'm confident.
All right. So you think I'm an experienced skier. You think that I have 13 brothers and sisters, and you think I haven't traveled to exactly 15 countries.
Correct.
You good. You got it.
Let's go.
I am an experienced skier. I do have lots of bros and sis. Haven't been to 15. I've been to a lot of countries. I don't think it's 15 though. I think I may be at number 10 or something like that, but not 15.
Got
so
you.
Yep, hey, good. Dang, I should have thought of a harder lie.
Nah, you good. I really was gonna go with the siblings because people try to get me on that too, like the number.
Oh, the siblings.
Yeah, the number. But then when you recorrect
I'm thinking people are gonna be like, dang, ain't no way she got 13 brothers and sisters.
Nah, it's definitely possible. So I mean, tell me about that. What was it like growing up with 13 brothers and sisters? Is the age gap super wide? Is it close?
So it's actually split in so my mom and my dad, they never got married and stuff like that. So I grew up with all brothers. So it was 4 of us growing up in the house. So I had 3 brothers. One is older. He lives in Canada with his family. And then I had 2 younger brothers, but that age difference was pretty significant. It was about I had about 11 years on them. So I kind of was not only was I the only girl in the house, but then I was the only teenager because my brother had left, start his life, and then I had these 2 little bros. So that was a little weird. So I had a lot of time on my hands.
Yeah.
But then on my dad's side, that's where you get that high number. There's 9 of us. I'm the oldest of 9 of them. So so that one is pretty cool because it's just it's a mix. There's 5 girls, 4 boys. We're all kind of spread out. So again, still being kind of the older. So in both situations, I was kind of one of the oldest siblings, other than my mom's side where I was the second oldest. So that was pretty dope. It's good. I like it because they all look up to me. Even to this day, they're like, oh, my sister's, a lawyer. She's doing her thing. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to have all of them up to me.
Talk about impact. I mean, you can impact 12 other people just around you.
Just in my family.
In your family that influence and have people look up to you or just kind of, admire what you do and see how far you came. But I'm pretty sure, do you have some type of calendar where you just write down birthdays? I know that's got to be crazy.
In my phone. I got it in my phone, thankfully. Nowadays, you can just put it in the phone. You get your notification it's this person's birthday, this person's birthday. And it's all spread out. I think it's each month, honestly.
Yeah.
Almost each month. Yeah, but I have December coming up with actually my niece of my older brother. And then January is my brother. And then my brother that I grew up with and my husband, they have the same birthday. Yeah. So it's a lot of memorizing and phone calendars.
I'm telling you. Shout out to Facebook. That's the only way I remember people's birthdays. So if it wasn't on Facebook, I probably wouldn't tell a lot of people happy birthday. But
Yeah, Facebook and Instagram for sure.
yeah. So then we got experienced skier. Like, what
Yes.
is that? Like, come on now, experienced skier. Like, what we
I
at?
gotta post a
We in
video.
Aspen, you know?
Well, I want to say like I said experience as opposed to professional because
Okay.
it's like you have beginner, you have like then that middle range, and then you have like experience where you could,
You
you
know,
can travel to another country and be comfortable going down the slopes.
got you.
So I moved to Massachusetts for law school and realized there was a lot of snow here. And one day my husband was like, "Oh, we should go try out skiing." I'm like, I don't ski. I don't know
Right.
about you, but I don't do that. So we went one night actually after Thanksgiving, like years ago. And then like couldn't stop. Like we would go back like all the time. Like we would plan our birthdays, going to the mountains and New Year's, and we even went to Canada to go ski on those slopes. So I'm really looking forward to the snow. Like I don't like cold. Like I love being like warm.
Of course.
But like when I'm skiing, it's just a different type of cold. Like it's a comforting cold.
Yeah.
Like you can't wait to get to the bottom. It's very exhilarating. There we go. Looking for the word. It's just that rush that you get. It's like, it's just.
I've never been. I really want to go. Me and the wife, we've been trying to do like a couple cabin.
You should go, especially like the cabin.
Listen,
like I want to
get black people together though. It's like we
yeah, no, that's it. For real. Like if you go to a cabin, you definitely got to bring like other couples to do it with.
Yeah.
So like none of my friends, they're just like, nah, that's not our type of stuff. But I'm like, you don't even have to like go down the slopes because they have the cabins where you can be by the fireplace and like, just kick it outside. Like you don't even have to go skiing per se to enjoy a ski trip. But like I think that at least you should do it once in your lifetime, at least once, like just to try to just be like, man, this either is for me or isn't for me. Like you won't know until you give it a try. And most people, when they do, they're like, oh, I love that.
Yeah,
like
it's fun. I think people got to get the idea of like the cold and just.
I think they're afraid to fall. That's the problem.
I'm not scared to fall. Like
because honestly, when you fall, you fall. Yeah, like I'm talking about like. It hurt. Like the first time I ever did it, I didn't have a helmet on. And so I fell and hit my, like, boom, my head.
Concussion protocol.
Yeah. So you have to definitely get the equipment. And it's a little on the pricey side too. Like, so sometimes people consider that just to go skiing one time could cost you, a few $100s. So with the equipment rental and the, ski lifts and stuff like that. So it could definitely add up. But it's so worth it too. And we love to what's the snowmobile as well.
Man, I want to do all of that, man. I'm trying to get a group together, man. We got to do it all. I've always dreamed about just snowboarding. Like I really want to snowboard. I don't really want to ski because skiing, I feel like my legs are just split like this.
No, you're right. I think most men, they enjoy the snow snowboard. Yeah. Like it's just like that jumping up. Yeah. Like that one is like, that one is too skilled for me. I'm like, I'm
gonna try it.
Stuck to the board.
I'm gonna try it for sure. So that's cool. That's a neat, fact that obviously I'm glad to hear and glad you were able to talk about, but definitely got to get out there, get to the slopes and see what I'm about. And then I have to let you know, like, hey, I'm experienced too,
Yeah, hey, I'm waiting.
Yeah. And so before we get into the conversation, I always have like a few like beginner questions that I kind of want to just open up. And one of the questions is what do you do that people may not know about? Like, what's a secret hobby that you have? Everybody knows you as, if I want to get trademarked, if I want to, you know what I'm saying? I know who to go to, but what's out? What do you do for fun?
That's such a good question. And my husband asked me the same thing the other day. He was like, what do you do? Like, what do you like to do? And like, I literally had to like think about it like really hard. Like, what do I like to do? Like, as far as like a hobby, like I like to do things, right? Like I like to get my nails done. I like to get massages, but it's like, what do you like to like do as a hobby? Like to be like, man, I got to go do this to get away from like the stresses of life. Yeah. I think one thing that I like to do that I don't think I've done enough, especially with this last year in business. I think it was just like a really hectic year as far as business wise, is if you like if I had turned my camera, you'll see that I have like plants all over my house. So I really love like growing plants, but like to what I love to do, I think I love to like garden. So I used to have a garden, like grow my own vegetables and stuff like that. But like I said, I had a son and then he kind of took up time, and then like launching my firm, that took up time. So I haven't had a chance to like get back to that, but I'm definitely next year, 2023, it's one of my goals to start my garden back up again. And just, see what I can do again, see what vegetables I can grow again.
That's dope. I really wanted to know, because even as entrepreneurs or people that, maybe you work, have a full-time job, and then you have a side business, side hustle, whatever you have. I think a lot of times our mind is focused on those things like work and then the side hustle, right? So you forget about just like having fun a little bit, or like having some type of hobby. And so like you do have to kind of sit down and be like, what do I enjoy? Because you've probably been separated from it for a while just because you're focused on goal all the time.
And that can sometimes happen, right? In this entrepreneurial journey, especially when we're just starting out, it's okay to, and I think that's what we have to realize, that it's okay to just focus on one thing at a time until you get a handle of it on it. Then you can say, man, okay, let me knock and tone back. I don't have to go as hard. I mean, we're always going hard, but we have to realize that we need rest as well. So we can't just be going 100 all the time. And like you said, which is important, kind of we forget what we love to do. And so we got to kind of get back to basics after we've gotten things off the ground. Now make some time for yourself and make time for the things you love to do besides just working. Because we don't just work and just love to work all the time. Like, I know.
I don't either, but I think what really helped is like, and I know it was bad for a lot of people. 2020, when 2020 happened, like the perspective on just life in general. Like, I mean, we always knew before 2020, like life is short, right? But then when you start seeing like the massive deaths due to unforeseen catastrophic thing as such as COVID-19, like taking people out left and right, it's just like you gotta really. Now personally, like I still want to be focused on my goals, but then I also don't want to be so
just let life pass you by.
Yeah, like I want to be in the moment, and I want to be I want to be able to feel the feelings in that moment. So I've been trying to pay attention to that and trying to create more memories through that, like staying present. So my next question is, what's the best advice that someone has ever given to you?
It's something that my husband always says a lot, actually, and a lot lately, is that to enjoy the season you're in rather than trying to rush through the season. And I think specifically it like being parents, for example, I think like giving an analogy to just, growing children, is that we were always like, when my son was a baby, we were like, oh, we really love this stage, but oh man, like I can't wait till we can sleep again. And I can't wait till he can start crawling, right? All right. That stage comes, he's crawling, like, man, dang, I can't wait till he starts walking, because this crawling, he's knocking everything down. Okay, he starts walking, now he's pulling things down. Then we're like, man, we can't wait till he starts being like independent and he doesn't need us anymore. And then he gets to the age where he's just like, he wants to do his own thing. And so we were always rushing him to the next stage. Like, we can't wait for him to get here. And so it's synonymous to our lives, where we're in one stage, especially like if we're talking about just our entrepreneurial journey, we may be at a stage where we're crawling in our journey, right? And we're like, man, we can't wait for our business to take off, where our business is walking on its own. And then when it starts walking on its own, we're like, man, I can't wait to start making millions. Man, it's like we'll never be satisfied, because we're always trying to rush to the next season and not enjoying the season that we're in, even the growing pain seasons, right? So like, because that's important to the journey as well. So I think that I'm trying to be more intentional about enjoying where I am in business now, no matter what it looks like, because I may never get back that lesson that season was trying to teach me. So that's definitely something that I'm trying to apply in all aspects of my life.
That's huge. I mean, that's huge advice. And it's crazy that you said that, because I just posted something on Instagram, and it was a guy, like, he was saying, he was like, everybody's rushing, everybody's rushing to get to the top or get to the journey. But once they get there, they're like, like what, you know what I'm saying? And they never really thought like it wasn't about the finish, it was like the journey along the way. Like, you know what
Yes.
I mean? And when you
Yeah.
said that, it was like the steps, like, you know, you want to
It's
go
the
from
steps,
crawling
right?
but it's
hmm
hard
And then,
to sit in that.
even right, and then even like piggybacking off of your post, there's this post that's going around that says like, don't forget that you prayed for where you are now. Like we're always like, man, God, if you could just give me one customer, if you could just give me one customer, right? Just Lord, just give me one customer, and then we get that one customer, and you're like, man, like you become so
Ungrateful.
great for that one customer. Like, and the way you cultivate that one customer is going to determine like your business going forward or just you going forward. So it's important to remember, like sit in that moment, like, man, I really pray for this and it's really here. I'm really living my prayer out.
Yeah.
So just, really enjoying the season is something I'm going to definitely be going into 2023. That's my mindset going into 2023, not rushing anything, letting everything happen in due course, and doing my part. And everything else will fall in place.
That's it. That's some great advice right there. I'm gonna leave it with that. Now I would ask. That's the best advice given to you. And so now, what advice would you give to a young Black female aspiring to be an attorney, aspiring in a situation where they know, like deep down, they feel like the sky is not the limit. They feel like they can accomplish anything, but their situation right now doesn't seem like they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. So, like, what advice would you give to that young person or that young female, to let her know, like, hey, you can make it. You just gotta stay focused.
Yeah, I mean, like starting with that, right? Staying focused on what you want. There's so many, it's so hard, period, being Black and then being a Black female or being a Black male. Definitely harder, obviously, being a black male than it is for Black females, but still hard nonetheless. We're at the bottom of the hierarchy in all levels, in all aspects, and we crawl our way to the top, especially because, for most of us, like myself, I wasn't handed down anything. I had to learn the ropes myself from everything. First attorney in my family, first person to go to graduate school. So, my story isn't any different probably from the next Black girl. And I think that we need to kind of like tune out the voices around us, right? Because one thing about me, I know what I want and I'm gonna go after it. I don't care what you say, I'm gonna go after it. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna do it. That's the problem. Like, a lot of us are just like, man, but I don't know how it's gonna happen. And that's what staggers us. That's what hinders us. It paralyzes us, honestly. Thinking about the end picture is like, man, I don't know how it's going to happen. And because we don't know how it's going to happen, we just stop at the thought. We stop at the vision. And that's another thing that I teach, like my customers, my clients. They say, okay, Chanise, tell me everything I need to do in my business. And I'm like, if I told you everything you needed to do, I would overwhelm you, and you would get so overwhelmed that you wouldn't even start. Because when you think about all the things you have to do, you're gonna say, man, like, this is too much. I don't want to do it all. So I teach the baby step protocol. I said, look, we're going to start with this. And when you're done with that, then let's move to the next step. Because if I give you all of the steps to follow now, you may never begin, right? You may look at it. You may look at the end of the staircase and say, there's no way I can get to the bottom. But if you just look at one step at a time, then before you realize it, you're going to be at the bottom. So that would be one thing that I would tell to that Black female aspiring to be an attorney is, don't look at the whole staircase at a time. Take it one step. Okay, what's the first step that I need to get in the door? Maybe I need to start networking. Maybe you need to reach out to me and say, hey, Chanise, can I just have a conversation? Because that's how I started. I just reached out to other attorneys. It was like, I want to have a conversation with you. How was law school? Tell me the truth. Tell me the good, bad, the ugly. And don't let that be the determining factor, right? You can't just let one thing be the determining factor, but take that one step. So maybe that one step for you is networking. And then once you figure out the networking, maybe then you start researching schools. Maybe you start researching maybe areas of law that you would be interested in, and just doing it like, baby steps, one step at a time. So my advice in summary, don't look at the whole staircase. Take it one step at a time, and be fully convinced of what you want and go after it.
I love it. I think you gotta have that conviction too.
It
it has to move you, because I think
Right.
social. I mean, the world now is super distracting. Like even I find myself all the time like stay off the phone. Like if I'm at work,
Yes.
stay off the phone. Quit, scrolling through social media and things of that nature. But I do feel like just to kind of harp back what I've been noticing. Right, so the podcast. I've been interviewing a lot of people and just talking to a lot of people. And I will say like for me personally, I feel like I have the go factor, right? I'm not a I'll think about it, but I'm gonna act on it. Like I don't know how it's gonna turn out. It might look ugly, it might be rough, but
Right. I don't know.
we gonna go. But I feel like a lot of women, black women, they have this innate ability to think about the details. Like, and if
Mm-hmm.
you could take the obviously having the details, right? And I think sometimes that hinders people. Like I gotta have like it has to be perfect for me to move.
Right.
If
Right.
man, if I just feel like if black females in general, if they just took that ability to have the details, but then also have the and a lot of females do, but just to have that go
Yeah.
factor, like
Right.
I mean, the way women are empowering each other right now, like it's crazy, man. I sit down and talk with so many women, and it's crazy because like I just love the camaraderie. I love everybody
Right.
on the same page, and like for me, it's like I want to bring that to light, but then I also want to bring like and maybe just finding men that's in that type of circle, that type of environment, and create that environment as well too. Like it's just a chain effect. Like we want to empower
Right.
everyone to just kind of keep going and keep pushing,
Yeah.
and just kind of stay out of certain circumstances. But Chanise, how do what did you want to be growing up? Like from the beginning, like
Mhm. I wanted to be a teacher.
are you?
I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to be a teacher. And I think I still have a desire to teach. And I think that comes across in my on my platform
Okay.
is I'm more of like someone whose page you're gonna come to and you're gonna learn something. Because
Yeah.
like I just love to teach people, like in general. In fact, in the pandemic, I started teaching at the law school I graduated from. So I was a professor for about a year or so. But then I started focusing on my firm, which was just, distracting me from that. And I wasn't able to give that my 100%. So I wanted to be a teacher. And then I realized, I think I have the ability to be an attorney.
Mm-hmm.
Let me kind of switch gears. And then I kept on being told, oh, you would be a really good lawyer. So that kind of was like put in my head. But I was like, I think I really would too, because I love to talk.
Yeah.
And I love to argue and like, make arguments and reasonings and stuff like that. So I wanted to be a teacher. And like I said, I think I still have the desire. I think like my end goal, like if I were to set up shop and like close it up and like close the law firm, I think that would probably be the next phase in my life would be like, okay, I'm going to just go into professorship like full time.
Yeah, that's dope. I mean, being an educator, a lot of times, I ask what we want to be in the beginning because to me, I do believe it is sometimes unfair to have 17, 18-year-olds to choose what they want to do
Yes,
at such an early age because they don't
I
know
so agree.
themselves yet. Like,
Mhm,
you don't know if
mhm.
like you're,
You
I
don't
mean,
know what you want to
yeah, you
be.
don't know what you want to be. And then a lot of times, when you hear certain jobs or certain careers, you only kind of see the highlights. You rarely see like the negative side. And I think you should give
So
people the
true.
opportunity to see both sides to be like, all right, I'm not going to be a victim. I'm going to be a volunteer. So
Yes.
I'm volunteering my time to do the good, but then I also know the bad comes with it. Like I can
Yeah.
accept that, you know.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people, like when they hear lawyer, like I think like initially, like when people said they want to be a lawyer, most like not all, I ain't gonna say all, but majority of people like, oh, because I want to make a lot of money. And trust me,
Yes.
like I had the wrong idea coming out of law school. I was like, I'm going to be making money now. I'm about to be
Yeah.
able to do what I do. And then I got that offer letter for my first law job. I can't even say how much they offered me. Like, it would be embarrassing to even tell you how much per year.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, this is for me? I got a whole doctorate. I got a whole $250,000 in loans, and you trying to offer me this?
Come on now.
I was not with it. And I was like, after a while of being in that rat race of like, I'm not being paid what I'm worth. I
Right.
know I'm talented. I know I'm capable. I know that I'm resourceful. There's no way I'm going to continue working for these people and giving you majority of the money, and then I'm walking away with your pennies,
Right.
your change,
Your little
like
percentage. Like,
yeah,
nah,
yeah.
that's crazy that you brought that up. So I'm glad you talked about that because a lot of people do when you think about I want to be a lawyer. Like it's for the money. Like a lot of
It's for the money.
a lot of
Maybe
parents have
you
forced you. You want to go to school, become a doctor,
exactly.
lawyer,
You
make
need
this
to be a doctor or a lawyer because you're gonna make a lot of money. You need to take care of us.
right.
And to just add to that is if you really want to make money, like don't get me wrong, like sky's the limit for attorneys, really.
Mhm.
Like we could be making like doctor salaries, right?
Mhm.
And some big lawyers really are. They're making more than that. However, majority of attorneys are not. But I want to say majority, some attorneys are not.
Yeah.
And if you want that big high six-figure salary,
Mhm.
because mid-career you should be making around six figures, but if you want high six-figure salary, be prepared to be working from all day to nighttime, weekends, vacations.
Talk about it.
Vacations is probably not even an option.
Not a
So
thing.
the work-life balance is pretty much non-existent.
Mhm.
And you will be stressed all the time. And I'm like, no, I do not want to live that type of lifestyle just for the money, because then now I'm just chasing the money. I'm not happy.
You can't do nothing with the money. You got it, but you can't enjoy it.
You gonna give me unlimited vacation, but I can't even go on vacation because you give me so much work.
Right.
So no, it's not. The math is not mathing.
Yeah, it's not mathing. And I think as I talk to more people and I get to conversate with people, I realize, like, I've heard it before, but they say sometimes like the more money you make, it does come with more problems, right?
More money, more problems.
More money, more problems. And it's just like, what problems are you willing to deal with? I think that's the real question. It's like, any job you're going to have, you're not going to like something about it. But what problems are you willing to deal with?
Right.
What mental stress is worth you and your money? So, like, the perspective on everything, like, I think that's huge. And so, if you can tell me, because this is very much educational for myself as far as, like, the listeners, right? I'm trying to help kids. I'm trying to help young adults, really figure out what they want to do by having people like yourself on here. But just the basic rundown, what is an attorney? For people that may not know, just what is an attorney and what is it that you do on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah. So you may have heard the term like lawyer, attorney. We kind of use it interchangeably, but like by definition, they are kind of two separate things. Not separate things, but they are two different things. A lawyer is one who's graduated law school, has gotten their doctorate, but hasn't necessarily sat for the bar exam, which is the test that allows you to legally practice law in a certain jurisdiction or jurisdictions. So that's an attorney. An attorney is one who has sat for the bar, graduated with the doctorate, sat for the bar, and has qualified in a certain state to practice law. And so as an attorney of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, I'm able to practice in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Now I can waive into other states should I want to practice outside of my state, depending on their requirements. But for me, because my practice is a federal practice, meaning that trademark law is governed by federal law, I am able to practice in all states. Okay. So when the law is governed by the federal government, meaning it's regulated by the federal government, federal always trumps state, right? Yep. So state law is things like maybe like a contracts or family law or, criminal law. Yeah. But federal things like federal crimes or immigration law, intellectual property law, those are regulated by the federal government and thus allowing me to practice in all states. So that's what an attorney is. They're able to represent clients in a court of law. And then as far as what I do on a daily basis, I think that varies day by day, but in a nutshell, what my day consists of is obviously like personal, like, cause I work from home. So, getting breakfast ready, everybody out the door. And then it usually will start with my to-do list for the day, as far as, okay, I need to, respond to all my emails first. Like that's first, because emails are priority. That's the first thing I'm going to respond to and chat, because there could be a prospective client in my email. There could be an email I received the night before that needs my immediate attention. So my emails get my first attention. Once my emails are taken care of, I'm usually corresponding with my paralegal, my law clerk throughout the day to see if there's anything she needs of me. We kind of have our Zoom meetings either on Mondays or Fridays. Then I am just working on trademark searches or trademark applications, anything that needs preparation, contracts maybe for the day. It just depends on what's on my to-do list. And then the day usually ends with client calls. So I usually start client calls around like 3:00 for the afternoon, and that'll take me all the way up until 5:00. And then after that, usually during like the nighttime is when I'm kind of, thinking of social media content, because I do run my own page. So I don't have a social media manager. So, the law stuff happens during the day, and then like the social media things, like ideas and just recordings, happens at nighttime. And so that's what my day looks like. It's not, you could just be in a circle, like, okay, open your email. I mean, I really enjoy it. I mean, every day is something new, because I'm working on different businesses each day. Like if I was working on the same business every day, like for the same client,
you'll be like,
yeah. But then I get to see things from like podcasts to entertainers, right? Like, artists, to clothing companies, to cosmetic brands, it's just really dope. Like the ideas that people come up with. I mean, like we are really talented for real. Like Black people, Black creativity is just on another level. Like we are so talented, and we don't even realize how talented we are.
Yeah, I think that'll be the most exciting part to me, is like the different people that you come across, and like the different businesses that you help and are able to protect, and kind of just I don't know, like that relationship and what you build.
It's the relationship too.
Like that's huge. I mean, I'm a people person, so I love being able to conjure up a good relationship or have a good conversation. And really be able to take something away from it and be like, dang, I remember when Chanise was telling me about I needed X, Y, and Z, or I just love that, and so that's cool. And just kind of keep the conversation moving forward. What keys or what things are important for you? What habits are important for you to have to be successful at your job? I'll word it that way.
Yeah, I think one is definitely clarity, knowing kind of what your goal is, and like why are you doing what you're doing? Like, do you have a clear vision of a clear goal? I know that my vision is that I want to help protect Black creativity. Like that's my vision, right? Protecting Black minority-owned businesses and their creativity. So just knowing that and keeping that in my mind, like Chanise, okay, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Because you love to help people, and God has given you the gift to help people, and because you have a law degree, you can help them with your law degree. I remember praying right before I passed the bar exam. I said, Lord, like if you help me, if you help me pass this exam, I will commit my degree to helping people, right? And I want to be honest in doing it. So definitely clarity and just remembering why I'm doing what I'm doing, but most importantly, consistency, right? As far as I think that's such a hard thing, like being consistent in business, because we all have our good days and our bad days. And I'm not gonna sit here and lie. And like, I want people to know that even as an attorney, even as an owner of a law firm, I have the days where I do not want to do anything. I don't wake up every day like, let's get to this money. Let's get to this money. I don't wake up like that every day. No, that's not true. I can wake up and be like, I want to just
lay around.
I just want to lay where I am. Right. And it's not like a depressing type, I want to lay where I am. It's just like, I don't want no responsibilities today. Like I had a very long week, and I don't want to do anything today. Like, tomorrow, Friday, like, I'm like, man, sometimes I'll look on my calendar and I'm like, man, all these obligations I have. Like, I had an event I had to go through to last night, and then I had calls all week. So, like, you get to the end of the week and you're exhausted. And so when people say, oh, you got to grind and do all of this, and it's like, that's just, you're going to burn out.
Yeah.
You are going to burn out. And so, persistency and consistency is good, but then you also have to listen to your body and know when it's time to just
take a break.
And it's okay.
Yeah,
Don't let Instagram and social media tell you that it's not okay to take a break, right? Like, you can't, like, these marketing gurus, they'll say, you got to post 3 times a day. And if you stop posting 3 times a day, you're going to lose your followers. No, I went a month without. There was a time where I went a month without posting and I was still getting followers. And for me, it's not even about the followers, to be honest with you. But they're going to be there when I get back. They're not going nowhere. And if they left, that means they weren't for me.
Yeah.
I believe that God has sent all the people who need to be among me and with me and a part of me are going to remain, whether I show up or not. And so I'm not concerned about that anymore. And I used to fear that. I used to fear, like, I remember when I first started gaining momentum on Instagram, like, okay, I found my thing. Like, I got it going on. I'm posting my reel. I'm getting clients, whatever. And then I used to be afraid. And, like, this is actually the first time I'm sharing this. Like, I used to be afraid of it. Like, man, if I stop, like, I would say to myself, like, I really need a break. Like, I really need to stop spending hours in this kitchen, because this is where I would be recording. Hours in the kitchen. I'm like, I need to go to bed. Like, I'm tired, but I was like, man, I got to keep making content because I need to keep my momentum. And then one day I was like, no, I'm not. I'm gonna. And then one thing I found, I want to post for a day, and then a day turned into a week, and a week turned into a month. And I was like, ooh, this felt really good. And when I went back on my social media, everybody was still there. Like, hey, girl, we missed you. Hi. Okay, I'm back. Right? So I had to do it for my mental health, and I had to do it just to, like, you going back to what we were saying, living in the moment again, right? And not letting this consume me, because this isn't who I am. This is just what I do.
Right. And I think that's huge, man. Like, I have the same feeling sometimes. Like, and I've always had this love-hate relationship with social media. And the only thing I love it because I don't look at it for the bad, right? I look at it for, like, I love seeing people, doing things. Like, I love seeing people out. I love seeing people having fun. But then you have people that say, it's a highlight reel. All you see is the good stuff. Well, I mean, to be honest, nobody wants to see, the bad. Like, sometimes you post the bad, nobody wants to see that either. So it's like,
that is so true. I never even thought of it like that.
So of course,
I'm gonna be like, that's mad depressing. Like, she's
right. So it's like, why would I post anything bad for the ridicule? Like, all right, I'm tired, because I'm already sometimes subconsciously thinking about how people may view me. Like, oh, he posting too much, or like, he doing too much, and like, I'm tired of seeing this content and things like that's things that kind of just eats me up and bothers me sometimes. But at the same time, I feel like once I have a plan, like the beginning of the year, I was like, I'm gonna stay consistent on my plan, no matter what anybody says. And I was like, okay, cool. I stayed consistent. We got the followers up. We're still grinding. Like, nothing happens overnight, but I've been taking
slow and steady.
Slow and steady. But I've been taking breaks too, and it's like you said, those people are still there. Like, the people that are for you, that rock with you, that like your content, that's the people you got to cater to.
Right. And then, like, taking the breaks is good too, because it's not like when I'm taking a break, I'm just completely shutting out, like, my business. I'm taking a break and I'm getting refreshed. I'm getting renewed. I'm getting new ideas. Like, things be dropping in me and I'm like, ooh, okay, let me write that down for when I am ready to post a video about it. So taking a break to recharge, like, every car needs an oil change. Every car needs to be tuned up. So same thing, like, you need to just go back to the maintenance shop, take a break, cut the social media for a second, and just let things start downloading in you. Like, for your podcast, you're like, oh, I got a really good idea about an episode like this or that or that. Sometimes when you're engulfed in your social media, you can't think because you're being overloaded with all this content, and then you start mimicking what other people are doing, and you're not really being authentic to to you.
Yep.
So you got to find who you are and your identity and not get drowned out by your competitors.
Come on, man. Big gems right there. I hope everybody takes away from that. If you ain't listening to nothing, make sure you listen to what she just said. Like, that is huge, 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 huge. And so before we get started into the other piece of what we got going on, I just want to kind of introduce it. So for the people that's listening, watching, I have a podcast, right? Nothing is, and as I listen and talk to more people, everyone's always, saying like, make sure your paperwork's together, make sure you got everything lined up, the back end stuff, make sure you're taking care. I honestly don't have a trademark. I don't have a trademark, and so one of the things,
it's okay.
Yeah, and one of the things I like to be transparent, and I just want to let people know, like, hey, I'm going, right? I'm going. I got the idea, but now it's time for me to kind of slow down and get the details together. And so what I did was I saw her, got some help, and reached out, and I actually purchased a 30-minute, just a little segment, so she can kind of get to know about the podcast or the name of what I'm trying to do. And I want you guys to be a part of this and be able to see the interaction and maybe see the questions. That way, like, if you want to be an attorney, this is the things that you might have to do for clients one day. But also, if you want to get a trademark, these could be some of the things that you want to prepare for, things that you want to look out for, and the reason why you might need one, you might not. Who knows? But I'm gonna let I'm no longer the host, so I'm gonna pass it over. I'm gonna pass it over to Chanise. Whatever time, 30 minutes. Just let me know what you need, questions. I'm open, so it might not even take 30 minutes, but hey.
All right. So thank you for that. Thank you for supporting my business in paying for this consultation and just honoring that. I really appreciate it. You didn't have to do it. So usually how it would work is the same, method that you went to. You would go through my website. Mm-hmm. You would pay for the consultation. Depending, I have two types of consultation. So I have a trademark consultation, and then I have a business strategy consultation, which is for people who are kind of like really lost in their business and they don't really even know where to start. Mm-hmm. Whereas the trademark is more tailored to people who know for sure that they want to get their trademark going and they just have questions. They want to know about the process and how long it takes and how do you trademark and all those great questions. And so usually I'll say to the person, tell me a little bit first about you as a person, and so I can know the person behind the brand, because I don't want to just know your business. I want to know who you are, because that sometimes gives me an insight into where this brand could be going, and maybe things that you didn't think of. So I usually say, share some things about yourself, like who are you, like where you from, and then tell me a little bit about your business as it is right now, because we're going to talk about your business right now in the present, but I also want to know what your business looks like in the future. So for you, tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you do.
Listen, my name is Armand Lindsay. I'm from Rock Hill, South Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah, but I reside in Texas now.
Which part?
What's crazy is I've lived in Austin for a year. I'd say a year and 4 months. Then I moved to Houston. I've been to Houston coming up on a year now. And who knows? I'm trying to hit all the hot spots. So I might be in Dallas next year. Who knows? But
I'm trying to move to Dallas, actually. There's a lot of entrepreneurs out there. The real estate market, at least, is better than here in Massachusetts. But we'll see how it goes. But if I'm ever in Texas, I'll let you know.
Yeah, let us know, man. Let us know. You and the husband, we can definitely link, me and the wife. But it'll be huge. But Dallas is a great spot, just to hit on that. But small town guy. I played football for a couple of years. The reason behind like the podcast, really, I don't know. At first, it was for me, like, I've always felt like I was odd or different, and not in a sense of just fitting in, because I was a part of the in crowd, you could say, but I was different, right? I wasn't as fast. I wasn't doing what everybody else might have been doing, but they knew I was in that circle, right? But deep down, I always knew I was different. Obviously, I suffered a lot of just traumatic things through parents being divorced. Like, that kind of hit me hard at a young age, and just understanding how to process that. And I don't know, I just always was different. I always had a chip on my shoulder. I was just like, people judge me, look at me different. And so I always just thought but I was always a good kid. But beyond that, I just felt like the things that I feel, the things, how I feel like I'm different. Like I never was able to have conversations with like some of the friends or homies and be like, y'all ever felt like this? You know what I'm saying? Like, do y'all feel different? Do y'all feel like y'all destined for something better than just Rock Hill, South Carolina? Like, do you feel like, and one of my goals was I always wanted to be in a position where I could talk to people. And I've always seen people like TD Jakes or like somebody influential, and they listen, and people, when they talk, people listen, like they attach to their word. And I wanted that because I felt like I would not abuse it. I would really want to speak life over people and really help people. Like that's my heart. And so I just didn't know how to articulate that. I wasn't good at, kind of speaking on my feelings. And so I was like, a podcast could be great. It started off as just, trying to talk about the trauma of going through divorce as a kid. But then I did a couple episodes and I was like, okay, cool. I like it. I think people gonna rock with it. I just don't think I could carry enough content for it.
Yes.
And go a long way. So then it changed from, okay, cool. Like I wanted to talk to people that's like me, that just may not have an outlet to listen or know or hear, to feel inclusive. So I was like, what can I do? I got a lot of people, friends, younger guys that, look up to the wrong things, right? Fast money. I want this. I want that. You want to live like that. My whole thing is you can live like that, but you can do it in the right way. It might take you a little bit longer, but you can do it in the right way. How can I do that? It's different people in different careers that are doing it, showing you every day that you can have a goal, go for it, set your mind and achieve it, and be different. You don't have to be a rapper. You don't have to be an athlete. You don't have to, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to sell drugs or anything like that or be, the biggest dope guy in the neighborhood. Right. You can do it in a different way. So I was like, I want to tap into careers. Like I want to talk to everybody in every single career.
Everybody and anybody. I mean?
Like everybody, anybody. So nobody could never say I didn't know about this career. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of people don't know what they can be because they don't have, like growing up, I never, an astronaut. Okay, who knew? They say astronaut, but you never seen an astronaut. I know I personally haven't. So that's kind of where it started. A little bit about me. That's awesome. That's the passion behind the podcast.
I can definitely feel the passion and see the passion, and it seems that this became an outlet for you to kind of express yourself, and an opportunity, like you said, for other people to hear from real life Black lawyers and doctors, and maybe hopefully one day you get that astronaut on here to talk about just space. That would be so dope. So, all right. So you run this podcast. Now, under this podcast, do you do anything else? Like, do you sell merchandise? Like, or do you plan on doing that in the future? Do you see this as just a podcast? Like, what else do you see this becoming, at least within the next 3 years?
3 years. I would say strictly, let's just, podcast. We've done the merch thing, right? We got a few hoodies, t-shirts, things of that nature. I just don't think I was ready to get into that, like the merch, because that's a whole different beast by itself.
That's a whole nother lot, right?
But I do see, in the future, next 2 to 3 years, they have like a little merch line, t-shirts, hoodies, and hats for sure.
Yeah, it would be nice, like having something like that, maybe possibly like with certain like sayings or quotes like that you take from the podcast. It doesn't necessarily, I mean, you can still have your brand on it, but like, so that people can like rock something that like is impactful or inspirational too. But you're right, that retail space is a whole nother thing, a whole nother level. All right, so then I usually like after, just learning a little bit about you and your business, then I'll kind of walk you through, if you decided to go with our firm, what that internal process would look like, and then what the external process would look like. So internally, what would happen, before we get to that process, I just want to talk to you a little about what is a trademark and what the difference between the trademark and the copyright is, so that you can know what you're getting yourself into. Because you're like, wait, why do I even need a trademark? Wait, why am I getting a copyright? Like, why do I need a trademark? So a trademark essentially is just as it says, it's a mark. It's the way that people identify you in the marketplace, right? Okay. So people identify us. Think of us when we walk into a room. How do people identify us? They identify us by the way by our voice, right? I could say something. My son is going to be like, "Oh, that's mommy." My back could be turned. He could see the back of my head, and he identifies me by my appearance.
Mm-hmm.
So there are different things that he recognizes in me that identifies me as being me.
Right.
And the same thing with our brand, our business. People could look at your business and they're going to identify your business for what you provide or what you sell. So just like Nike, let's look at Nike, for example. When you think of Nike, how do you identify Nike? Well, you're going to identify it by its name. Nike, the automatic thing that's going to come to your mind is like, oh, that's that clothing company. That's that athletic wear. That's the Yeezy controversy brand, right? Those are the things that come to your mind. So we identify Nike by its name. So you can trademark your name because that's one way people identify you. We also identify Nike by its logo. So the swoosh sign, right? So you can trademark that because that's how people identify it. Okay. We also identify Nike by the slogan, just do it. So you get a trademark for that. So you have a trademark. Those are the three types of trademarks, the three main types of trademarks. Okay. Your name, your logo, and then your slogan. So for most businesses, you're going to either have one of those three things. Like you have to have one of, you may not have a logo, but you definitely have a name. Mm-hmm. You may have a name, but you don't have a logo. You may have a slogan and a name, but not a logo. So you're going to have at least one of those things if you're in business. And that's what you should trademark. You should trademark any of those things that identifies your business. And the purpose of that is because it will it gives you exclusive rights to that name in the industry that you're serving, right? Okay. So for Nike, no one can go and start a clothing line and call it Nike because they own exclusive rights to the name Nike. So for you as a podcaster, by trademarking your name, no one anywhere in the entire 50 states, so not just in your little Austin, Texas or Houston, Texas, we're talking about a national level that anyone who wants to start a podcast cannot call it by your name or use your logo or use your slogan in connection with podcasting services. And not even just podcasting services, because we're going to look at it, how the government looks at it is, well, could someone start maybe a YouTube channel, right? Mm-hmm. And call it the same? No, because YouTube is in the entertainment category. Right. And so is podcasting. Podcasting is in the entertainment category. So they may not even be able, even if you don't trademark it for a YouTube channel, but you did trademark it for podcasting, they still may not be able to even start a YouTube channel because it's too closely related. That's like me probably trying to start swimwear and say, well, Nike sells athletic wear, but I'm selling swimwear, but it's still in the clothing industry. So it's too closely related. Because if I go into the store and I see the name Nike on a bathing suit, I'm going to automatically think that has something to do with Nike. And Nike's going to be like, whoa, no, that's not my product, right? So the same thing with, your podcast. So even if you don't trademark it in for YouTube, no one could start a YouTube channel and call it by the name of your podcast, and not even just the name of your podcast, but anything that's similar to your podcast, right? So if I wanted to start a beauty line and call it, Rihanna has Fenty, if I wanted to call it maybe fentanyl or something like that, hopefully I'd never do that. But maybe if I made like a little, Fenty-ish or something like that, I would get rejected because it's too close to Fenty. Now, there are situations where brands can use the same name so long as they're providing different services. An example of that is Dove chocolate bar and Dove soap. The reason why you can do that is because you're in two different categories, right? So if someone wanted to start a cookie company and use your name, they could, because you're in the entertainment sector. You're not providing cookies. I'm never going to go into the supermarket, go to the chocolate aisle thinking I'm getting soap. There would be no way that I would confuse the two. I would never confuse soap with chocolate, right? So that's how trademarks work and what you can trademark, and then the categories that you can trademark them in. So I usually recommend, if someone is going to start trademarking for the first time, what should you trademark first? You should trademark your name first, because so long as your name is solidified, your logo is not that your logo is going to be protected, but if your logo contains your name, at least you know that your name is protected, right? So that would kind of be maybe my second one to trademark, would be your logo, depending on how often you use it. And then if you have a good, strong slogan, then I would say that would be your third option. So between your logo and your slogan would kind of be second and third. Now, after you sign up with the firm, we're going to get your name and we're going to do a comprehensive search of your name, because remember, the whole purpose of the trademark is to make sure that no one else is using the name or can use the name. So we want to search every state database. We're going to search every business directory to make sure that no one is using your name in your industry. So what happens 50% of the time is a client comes to me with the name and they're excited about their name. They've been in business. And then we go do that search. It's like, oh no, I'm so sorry. There's already a trademark for it. And not only a trademark, but in the same industry. So that kind of always throws a wrench in the middle, because we either have to switch the name, like, modify the name after they've branded and marketed and all that stuff. Or sometimes there's some people who just really like taking risks, and I admire that. And they're like, no, I want to go ahead and I want to proceed with it anyway and see what my chances are. And in some situations, they've been able to overcome. We'll make our arguments as to why their name is different, and we did it, and we were successful. So it just really depends on how much of a risk taker you are. So once we, clear the name and provide you with good or bad news, then we'll file the application. And once we file the application, the government then takes almost 10 months to just pick your application off of the fax machine, right? It's really not a fax machine. Picking it up out of the queue. So it is a very long time. And that's just the first step in the review. The first step is them just picking it up, reviewing it, and they're going to also do their internal search. So we did a search, and then they're going to also do a search. And they're going to write us a letter letting us know whether your name is good to go, like whether they think your name is too similar to someone else. So the whole process could take about 12 to 24 months. 12 months at minimum if you're lucky, more like on average 16 months for everything to kind of happen. And then, once we get to the end, then you get a trademark certificate. I'm trying to see if I have one to show here, but you get a trademark certificate with the golden seal. You get to put the R behind your name. But in the meantime, while you're waiting for your trademark to register, you can use the TM symbol. So that little tiny TM symbol that you see all over social media. People are using that. Again, it has no legal significance, but what it does do, it puts the public on notice that you are claiming, right? You don't have the ownership, but you are claiming ownership of it. So it's kind of like speaking it before it really happens. But it doesn't stop anyone from going and using the name, because they don't have a trademark for it. But, I would caution people not to do that. If you see a TM symbol, just know that people are saying, well, look, I came up with this idea. And if you feel like they're biting off of you or they're copying you, then it's probably time to reach out to an attorney. So in the meantime, use that TM symbol. For even you as a podcast on your Instagram page, you can put that TM symbol, even if you don't even have an application in the works. You don't have to have a pending application to use that symbol. You can use that symbol for as long as you want, until you do get that R eventually one day, and you can switch it to the R. And then, the great thing about the R is that you can just now start sending out cease and desist letters to anyone who is starting to, kind of mimic your brand, that is starting to confuse people. Like, wait, hold on. Like, you're calling it what again? That kind of sounds like me. So I wanted to make sure that no one was going to use, which I highly doubt they would, but I wanted to make sure that no one would use Mark Said Go to start a trademark law firm, or, the real lawyer. So those are things in my business that I wanted to protect, and was able to do so. And so for anybody who is listening to this conversation about, man, like, should I really do it or not? It really just depends on how in love and passionate you are about your brand. Do you care if someone starts a podcast using your name? Care if someone starts a clothing line using your name? If you do, then you should trademark.
Got it. Okay, so then I guess the biggest question for me is, like, I kind of got the process. That was one of the questions, like, how long would it take? But if I wanted to move forward, because I am, in love with the name and what we are starting to create, what does that look like from this point, right? So I know we have this meeting here. How do you move forward as far as like I want to go with your firm?
So usually what will happen is after our phone call, you get an automatic email from me telling you, thank you for speaking with me. And then in the email, there's an intake form that you can click on, and you fill out that intake form. You'll review our pricing packages, and you'll fill out the intake form, and then we'll send you a contract, and we send you an invoice for the first payment, and then we start that research process. So my firm runs on a monthly payment plan situation. So I understand that as a business owner that a lot of people don't have, $1,600 just sitting around to start trademarking. Like, it's not something that that people have money that they have laying around. So I'm trying to make it very affordable for people to be able to start the process with just putting down the first payment. So if you are going with our silver package, that's $1,650. That includes all filing fees, all legal fees. Like that's the price you're going to pay forever. Like you're not going to, there's no hidden fees or anything like that. And that $1,650 gets divided into 3 payments. So you would be paying $550 a month. So just to start the process, it would be that $550. And then you have 2 more months of $550. So we start the process right away. We don't wait until the end of the payment plan. So as soon as you hit that $550, we start our research. We provide you with the report. We file the application, and then we continue to monitor it and provide you with updates throughout the entire process.
Got it. And then let's just say, okay, best case scenario, the name goes through, you did the research, nobody's got it. The government does the research, we're good there. Is there something that you need to, is there like a yearly check-in, or do I have to file something every year to kind of keep this trademark valid, or does it ever go null?
That's a good question. So your trademark is yours so long as you continue to use it. The moment you cease using it, you could lose your protection, right? So you just have to make sure that you continue using it. But as far as renewing it, you do have to renew it. It's not really like the word is not really renew, but it's kind of, but you have to file a declaration of use between the 5th and 6th year, right? So if you did it in 2023, you would file a renewal in 2028, between 2028 and 2029. Then you will file another renewal between the 9th and 10th year, and then every 10 years after that. So it's pretty low maintenance. I mean, like you're talking about like 2028 and then 2020. I can't even think that far ahead.
Yeah, like 2033,
and then 24. Yeah, like I can't believe I'm even saying those years. But yeah, it's pretty low maintenance as far as renewal time. So it's not like an LLC where you have to renew every year to stay in compliance. But you will have to renew it at some point.
Okay, perfect. Well, I mean, I think I don't have any other questions. I think you answered a lot of the questions that I was going to ask. On my notebook, is there anything else that you would ask or go over, or is that kind of the conversation?
That's really it. As far as I'll just say, how soon are you looking to start the process? And I am all for making sure that you really want to go with this name, right? Because I would hate for you to start the process only to be like, oh man, I'm not really in love with this name. So definitely making sure that this is a name that you're going to be sticking with at least for the next 5 years before you have to renew it, right? Because you don't have to pay all this money for a name that you're really not in love with. So just make sure that you really love your name, that you're really committed to the name. And if you're doing a logo, make sure it's not a logo that you're going to be switching at least within the next 5 years. Every time you update that logo, you will have to file for a new trademark, because if you make any modifications to it, that trademark registration will not protect that new amendment to the logo. It only protects it exactly how you trademarked it. So yeah, and like I'm always available after consultations before that client actually commits to our firm. I'm always following up with you, right? So I'm going to follow up with you at least 3 times just to say, hey, look, let me know if you want to schedule another call free of cost just to talk through it. Because like I said, it's a big financial investment. Some people are just like, man, like I'm about to, put this much money into this. Like, so if you need to talk through it again to be comfortable, I want people to know that I'm available to do that. So you just simply email me like, hey, Chanise, can we jump on another call? Or I have more questions. Can you answer it via email? I'm always open to that as well. And then one last thing is that I wanted to gift you a free trademark.
What?
Yeah. So today is December 1st, and we actually haven't given out, usually like within the last 2 years, we used to give away a lot of trademarks, and I kind of lost that. And this will be my Christmas gift to your business, because you had shared with me that you don't have one yet. So I definitely like to help out another Black business and gift you with a free trademark. And so after this call, we'll send you an email of how to get the process started.
You did? Oh my! No! This is crazy. You didn't have to. Oh man! Nah, for real. This means it means a lot. Like for people that's watching, listen. I had no idea. Like
you did. He didn't know anything.
I had no idea. I promise.
And I wasn't even gonna. Honestly, it was as you were speaking. What really made me do it is you were talking about the reason why you started this podcasting, and it really resonated with me because as a Black male, you could be doing anything with your time right now. You could be running the streets. I mean, I come from brothers, right? You could be in a lot, doing so many other things, but here you are impacting us, impacting people who are listening to this podcast and making a difference. And I want to be able to support that vision by, letting you know that I believe in this podcast. I believe in your brand. Otherwise, I wouldn't even be on this in the first place. And so, let's start that. Let's start the new year. Let's go into the new year knowing that your brand is secure.
Yeah, man. Shout out to God, man.
God is. It's all God. It's all God that makes this possible.
It's all God, man. I don't even know what to say. I'm gonna say thank you for one. And,
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome.
That's huge. But yeah, so Chanise done made my whole 2023.
Yay!
So I appreciate it.
You're so welcome.
But yeah, thank you. So
welcome.
I'm glad everybody got to listen.
I look forward to all the episodes in 2023, and I hope to come back as a guest. And I really enjoyed our time just talking. What I really appreciated about this podcast, it wasn't just focused on like just lawyer, right? It was just like a chit chat. Like how are you as a person? Like tell me about you as your person and as an advice. And I usually don't get that. And I really like that kind of twist on it where we're talking about personal things and professional things.
Yeah, thank you. It means a lot because I really want people to understand like it's more to life than what we do.
Yeah,
right?
Than what we do. Right. We got a whole lot of things going on.
and for you being an expert skier, there might be a skier out there that might want to be an attorney, right? So different things resonate with different people, and so I appreciate you for saying that. But I'm not gonna keep you hostage anymore.
No problem.
But what I will say, how we keep the podcast moving is we do it based off recommendations. If you have a recommendation, 1 to 2 people that you would love to see on the podcast who, fit the mold of what we have going on, I would love to sit down, conversate, and really just do the same thing we did today, just with somebody else and, that we've never met or seen before. So if you could just send me those through.
Absolutely. I have a list of people I think would be great.
And it doesn't have to be 1 or 2. It could be multiple people. So just send them to me.
Gotcha.
I'm not sure. I believe you following us on Instagram. So if you could just send me.
Let me do it right now.
Yeah. So just obviously it's Big Boss.
What's the handle on Instagram?
It's Big Boss Talk _ and then that's it. And then if you could just send me their profiles through Instagram, and then I'll just reach out via DM.
Absolutely. Yes, got you right now, and I'll DM you, and I'll also email you to get this started. And I hope you have a Merry Christmas. I hope you have a Happy New Year. And thank you for just all that you're doing.
Same to you, man. I'm gonna go cry real quick, and I'm gonna be back. But thank you so much. Thank you.
You're so welcome. All right, you have a wonderful night.
All right, you too.
All right, bye. All right.